Speaking of things that are rocking and rolling, Tennessee football right now is, and we are joined by our good friend Sam Rothman after a big win over Kentucky. It's been a while.
Welcome back, Sam.
I know, it's been a while since we've seen your face.
Back.
How have you been? There has been so much going on there in Tennessee, both on the gridiron and the diamond.
Yeah, it's been a whirlwind of a week, but yeah, I kind of felt like that Kentucky game, no one was really, not to say not excited for, but we're like, oh yeah, wait, Tennessee's playing football right now because of all the Vitella news and everything. But yeah, everything has calmed down. There was a lot of, if Danny White didn't hire Elander to be the next head coach, and if Kentucky lost, I think maybe there would have been mattresses on fire again for Tennessee. But all has calmed down. Everyone's happy with the Elander hire. Everyone's happy with the Kentucky win. So all is good on a rocky top now, for now.
Absolutely. We'll talk baseball here in a second. Let's go to football first. Obviously, the team bounced back after that loss to Alabama in Tuscaloosa. They go back on the road. They get a win over Kentucky, a team that's been really feisty over the last few weeks. Break down what you saw there from the boys over in Lexington being able to get a big win.
Yeah, it's really just good on one side of the ball, bad on the other side of the ball. And that bad is so confusing. This is all we've been talking about with this defense. It is so confusing. But just starting with the offense, Joey Aguilar was just a dude against Kentucky. Had a great bounce back game after struggling a little bit against Alabama, but hit 5 deep balls, I think, 3 of those for touchdowns, a 50-yarder, a 60-yarder. I mean, he was just slinging it. And again, the players, wide receiver Chris Brazel was laughing the post-game press conference saying, I don't know why they kept doing man coverage against us. Like, You should know better by now, but obviously it worked, right? And Tennessee's offense just looked really good. Struggling to run the ball a little bit, but if you're throwing it like that, you really don't need to run the ball, right? You can just score in 2 plays. Defensively, Kentucky came in as the worst offense in the SEC. They allowed nearly 500 yards of offense, and that's not good. There was a lot of big chunk plays, and we've been talking about missed tackles. I think really from the beginning of the season, the players are tired of talking about it. The coaches are tired of seeing it on film, and just like no one has a response. They keep saying it's fixable, it's fixable. We haven't seen it be fixed.
Right.
So that is something to definitely see. But at the other end, like Tennessee is one of the worst defenses, but then they have 5 defensive touchdowns. That leads the nation. It's been so confusing. They had another one of them against the Wildcats. So it's really confusing because the defense has been reasons that they've almost lost or lost games, but also why they stayed in games too. Because against Kentucky, Tennessee was up by maybe 3 scores, and all of a sudden it was a 1-score game.
Right.
And it was because of a big interception and plays on defense. So it's been so confusing, this Tennessee defense that, if you remember last year, was the best in the nation. And they didn't really lose a lot of pieces. So it's just been very confusing.
I know. For the offense, we'll start with the offense first, because I think the defense, as you mentioned, the turnovers, being able to get turnovers, I think is a special skill that not a lot of teams have. Even the good defenses don't have. So I think that is something that they can, take with them moving forward. For this offense and Joey Aguilar, he looks to be back to form from what we saw at the beginning of the season and what we saw that first half of the Georgia game. Where is his confidence level right now? Where is he in the offense? Because it looks like this quarterback play is sustainable to be able to make a very, very deep run.
Yeah, I would say his confidence, even though, he struggled a little bit against Alabama and in some of those other games against Arkansas, his confidence has never wavered. I mean, if you talk to the guy, he is calm, cool, collected, and that's what you love out of a quarterback, right? And that's what Tennessee needs right now. But he was just talking about how much fun he had. He always has a smile on his face. He rebounds so impressively, and to come back from that Alabama game and to have a performance like that just shows his character and how, when he's feeling it, he's feeling it. And a lot of those things against Alabama, I mean, it was just not a great performance overall. You can't blame it all on him. But just to have the performance that he did and be able to throw like that, make those deep balls again that we saw early on in the year, get back to that, again, you have to take into account the opponent they were facing and that Kentucky defense a little bit too. But just, it doesn't matter if you play. To have a game like that, I think that just, like you said, builds that confidence. He already has that confidence, but it always helps to have a performance like that, especially going into the rest of the season. I mean, you can't lose the game if you want to make the playoff. It's just win out, and that's all you can do. So.
Yeah, exactly. Sam, moving ahead to this game against Oklahoma, I find it a little bit interesting because obviously we just talked about Joey Aguilar and the offense getting back on track. well, Oklahoma just had one of its worst defensive performances in recent memory against Ole Miss. But again, you flip it on the other side, Oklahoma's offense hasn't been good since John Mateer's come back.
Yeah.
And we just talked about, again, the Vols defense hasn't been good all year. So, I mean, when you look at those matchups, what do you see having more of an impact?
I would have to say, because Oklahoma's offense doesn't really scare on paper, I think it's going to come down to Tennessee's offense, Joey Agler, against this Oklahoma defense. Yeah, I mean, they played Ole Miss, right? Ole Miss is going to be a tough matchup, but I think this Oklahoma defense is legit, and I think Tennessee understands that it's legit, and you're not going to be able to do what you did just this last week against Kentucky. So I think it's going to come down to, can the offense. Now, I'm not worried about the defense getting stopped, because this Oklahoma offense, John Mateer has just not looked the same since he had that thumb surgery and came back from injury. And so, I think it's really going to come down to if Aguilar can continue that play that he had at Kentucky this week, especially you're at home, you're on prime time, it's dark mode, it's kneeling at night, Spooky Rocky Top will be playing. Like, if you're not excited for this game, there's a problem, right? And this offense should be hyped. And I think the defense will feed off of that as well, because at home, the defense has looked a lot better, just feeding off the crowd's energy, especially on third down, when the crowd's going nuts and all that. So I think that will be really important.
Yeah, absolutely. This feels like an elimination game for the college football playoff, like
right?
for the teams. Is that something that coach is talking about? I know that whenever you get to 2 losses, there's a kind of a balance that a coach has to do with the, trying to stay the one game at a time, going 1-0, that coach speak, but also getting your guys to realize there has to be a sense of urgency with every game, and you cannot afford to lose. What's the way that Coach Heupel is addressing this game, knowing, like we said, that it is a de facto playoff game in and itself?
You're never getting an answer on that from Coach Heupel.
Yeah.
He is just the most coach speak coach there is, but the players have talked about it, right? So the players, I think we talked to Miles Kitselman this week, who talked about how they know they have to win out, but again, they are just keeping that 1-0 mindset, because the second you look ahead and you look, oh, well, we have to beat Florida in the swamp, we haven't beat Florida in 20 years, you're overlooking Oklahoma, right? So I think they know they have to take it one game at a time. And a big thing that we had heard earlier after the Alabama loss was Tennessee made the playoff last year with 2 losses, right? Like, they have those 2 losses, they're fine. This Tennessee team will make the playoff if they win out. Like, they have a 90% chance, unless craziness happens around them. They're basically in. So they understand that. But, it's hard to not look ahead. It really is, especially when you have that Florida game that you haven't won in 20 years. And looking at the schedule, don't even look at Florida. Look at week 14. That could be for a playoff spot for both sides. What scares me is if Tennessee falls in one of these games, and then Tennessee has nothing to lose, but Vanderbilt is fighting at Neyland Stadium to go to the college football playoff. Yeah. That atmosphere is going to be insane. Yeah. And hopefully it's for Tennessee to make the playoff, right? And not just for Vandy to make the playoff, but that would be an awesome environment. When has the Tennessee Vandy, last year that Tennessee Vandy game counted because Tennessee needed to win, but when has it meant so much for both teams, right?
Yeah.
So, and it's hard not to look ahead to that game, right? For sure. So, but you just have to, this is an elimination game. You said it, like Tennessee has to win, and that's it. And at home in primetime, you should win.
Absolutely. One big note here from the football standpoint is on the offensive side, the receiver, Chris Brazzell. Everybody's been talking about, whether it's Cam Coleman and Ryan Williams, and there's a lot of people who've gotten more national hype. This guy, to me, might be the best receiver in college football. Break down what he has meant to this offense and the breakout game that he had, and what they'll look forward to him for the next few games.
Yeah, he leads the SEC right now. He's basically led the SEC all season long. He started on a heater. He had 7 touchdowns, I think, in 3 or 4 games, and he kind of quieted down as teams started, planning for him, double teaming him and all that. But you know what that allowed? If you look at the standings, Tennessee has 3 wide receivers in the top 10. They just had 3 wide receivers rack up over 100 yards in one game, the first time since 2019 doing that. This is just an elite wide receiver room. And the great thing is if they're focused on Chris Brazzell, Mike Matthews, Braylon Staley are like, okay, no one's on us. We're going to score, But just the fact that Chris Brazzell, he's not only good when he's the one doing the work, but he's good because he takes attention away from the other guys. So just what he's been able to do this season, especially last season, not having the season he wanted, being very quiet. This has just been a breakout year. And yeah, I would agree with you. If not the best, one of the best in the SEC.